All right, so this is a study
Yep.
from NAR, the Nationalist, not NAR, which is Ray and I's new National Association of really realistic realtors.
Right. Real
This
estate
is from
agents.
this is from NAR, right? National Association of Realtors. Young adults eagerly entering and dominating the housing market. Dominating. First-time home buyers are swooning over housing. Millennials are comprising. I feel like whoever writes these articles, just they're always in their thesaurus. Like, what's a word? Like, and I'm not saying a bad thing about it, but I just like swooning. Like, really, like, oh, I love this housing market so much. Like, are they
honestly,
really swooning?
Honestly, a lot of the news that we cover on the show, it's not new news. It's different versions of similar studies. Right. So yes, if the source is in order.
Yeah. Oh, there's a great comment from Howard. We'll come back. Let me get to the article and we'll come back to Howard's. But yes, I've been messing with that filter. So I'm curious to see what Ray would look like. But first-time home buyers are swooning over housing. Millennials are comprising the largest share of buyers at 37%, shows the National Association of Realtors' newly released 2021 Home Buyer and Seller Generational Trends Report. Now, my first question is, can we report on what generations are doing, and could this be considered steering if we're talking about generations or some sort
ageism?
of ageism? Yes, or some sort of
No, I think the rule is you can be ageist against the young but not the old, or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, which is like,
nah, but it's nothing like that.
Yeah, you're 21. You shouldn't be buying a house. Stupid. Get out of here. Like, what? But anyway, sorry. The youngest buying generation, Gen Z, is also starting to emerge. And I believe I talked to Matt, who is a Gen Z-er. He was born in 99, I believe. So they're starting to get out there, which is cool because millennials have been so delayed for a lot of reasons. The majority of millennials and Gen Z buyers are first-time home buyers and are increasingly relying on real estate professionals to navigate their home buying debut in what has become a very competitive housing market, which is not new news. During the Rona. In particular, younger millennial buyers ages 22 to 30 were the most likely to cite a real estate agent as a prime information source they used during their home search at 91%, according to the survey. That's pretty cool. So there's all this tech out there, right? We're always talking about the Zillow and the Trulia and the, which app is coming next to take our job or whatever. Or which iBuyer is going to take a chunk of our business or whatever that is. But it's cool to know that they still rely on us humans, for that true guidance, so those of us who are true professionals in this industry, we're benefiting from that. And I think that's an amazing thing, especially by the younger ones, because now I don't know what, 5 generations ahead of Gen Z now. I don't even know.
Right. Well, and I think it kind of goes back to our earlier discussion a couple of weeks ago on Zillow, where, I think there's a place in the market for both. There's a place in the market for both versions of what we do.
Yeah.
If you have an investor or something like that, it's looking to move quick and they're, just trying to, for them to be able to click a button and sell a house, I think that's going to be great. And I think that's going to help them. For them to be able to click a button and buy a house, wonderful. But you have a whole group of people that are buying their first home. And although they're well-versed, I think this happened a couple of years ago. We were seeing a lot more people come into our offices and kind of know it all, like where they'd say, well, it's supposed to work like this and it's supposed to happen like this. And you're like, well, that's not in our area. Like, where'd you find that information? And they're like, well, I Googled it. So I think now the information is better and people are using their access to real estate agents better. I think I like where we're headed as an industry.
Yeah.
Where agents will have to be more professional and will provide better service. And there's an option for those people that don't want to use the agent, that don't want to go that route. I think having an option for them is great. I think there's room enough for all of us.
It does force us to kind of up our game as real estate agents. If we're good,
which is kind of why we started the show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were very verbal about when we started the show. Like, hey, this is about, we're showing you what good agents should be doing and what to expect. And we used to say it on the show all the time. They need to be knowing these articles. They need to be, make them work for you, and now we've affected the entirety of the world's population of realtors. And now we're good, except for a couple that I'm working with right now, but they don't watch the show. But anyway, so many young adults are searching for homes in the suburbs, which I think is really interesting because we talked a lot about, leaving this and, leaving the cities and going out a little further, which is, this is spot on for that. 54% of homes purchased by buyers between ages 31 to 40. And it says considered older millennials. it's kind of sad. Just why do they have to say that? Just I don't know. It's just it's funny to me.
Millennials.
Yeah, but they were located in a suburb or subdivision. So despite the growth in remote work since the Rona, quote unquote, convenience to the workplace remains a strong factor in neighborhood choice among the 22 to 30-year-old age group.
Right.
And this is a quote from Jessica Lotz, who is the NAR's VP of Demographics and Behavioral Insights. She walks a lot of fine lines, I'm guessing, with her job. But she says the younger millennials overwhelmingly answered that they prefer to live closer to work, as many don't want a long commute. And this was evident in their buying habits. And she goes on to say, additionally, both of these groups also placed a high value on being close to family and friends, as 57% said that dynamic factored into what neighborhood they ultimately chose. So the biggest takeaway, in my opinion, Ray, is the 91%. That's, if you were in the 50, 60, 70% range, that's overwhelming. So 91% still choosing. And maybe they do the searches online. Maybe they add, it adds to what the realtor does, but 91% are still using actual human beings, which is so cool to me.
Yeah. And I do want to bring someone up. I'm going to call him out because he's making good comments on YouTube, which we really appreciate the comments and the follows on YouTube. And let's see. First, Melissa Mars says, I'm not the baby in the room for once, because there are others.
Yeah.
Mario Flores says the hand holding of a vetted professional is still wanted and needed. First time buyers don't know what to do and have no idea about this process. So this is coming from a guy that's making an app to help them with the process, saying that.
But remember though, a year and a half ago, it was just going to be one button and you buy your house, no inspections, none of this, and it saves you time, saves you money. But people are like, I don't want to make such a big decision by pushing a button. I don't want to do that. They've obviously responded with that. So it's kind of what we predicted here on the show.
They did get that no inspections part right, though. That's happening more often now.
No inspection, no appraisal.
So Ryan, and I don't know if he's available to speak or not. I've added him up into Clubhouse. He says it's more than hand-holding. Even non-first-time home buyers would prefer being guided and protected through the process, and sometimes hand-holded.
Yeah,
that's good. Ryan, all right, Ryan's up. I'm going to bring him up on Clubhouse. Ryan, tell us more. Tell us your age too, because you're a millennial, and tell us what you're thinking on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. This is actually my first time to speak on Clubhouse, so I'm excited. Kind of feels giddy, but yes, also a millennial. I just turned 28. Working in the Little Rock market with the Ray Ellen. So glad to be on the podcast. And, I think a lot of the tools, all the different apps and technology, they're definitely supplemental and they provide a lot of value. But it is encouraging to hear, the 91% still want to work with a professional. And me and Ray have had, talked about this a little bit. I don't really have anything other to add, but I'm glad to be able to speak and jump on the podcast and here on Clubhouse. You got any questions or anything you wanted me to speak on, Ray?
Well, I know you're working with a lot of home buyers. What percentage of your home buyers are younger or as old as you are?
All of them are either around my age, within 2 to 3 years, except for one client is a little bit older. But I would say right now, 85% of my clients this year have been within 5 years older or younger than me.
Okay. And what is your primary lead gen source for those? Are you getting them from things like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, or are the people who you're working with about your age because you are working within your sphere mostly?
So I would say 80% are within my sphere. I have, used, I do have a couple clients that have been Zillow or Realtor.com, but 80% of my business this year and 80% of my business last year were all through my sphere, word of mouth, or referral based.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, thanks for sharing. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, people are going to work with people that are like them. And when they see someone like Ryan, who's a real estate professional in the industry, they're going to go to him for questions because, you know, they could use a computer, but when Ryan's their friend and having coffee with them and hanging out with them, then why not just ask Ryan?
And one last thing, Ray, if you don't mind, I would say one thing that you do well, and one thing I try to do well, is to educate. So people oftentimes want to be educated, entertained, or encouraged. And if you can provide value, especially within your sphere, be a person they can go to just for questions when it comes to real estate. Provide that, information, provide that value anytime you can. People will not only just as somebody that's a real estate agent, but somebody that is continually trying to add value to their life and can be a resource. So that's one thing I've learned just within my network. It's not, hey, buy from me. It's, hey, let me add value when I can and when I'm encouraged or invited in that provide that value. So that's what I would say.
That's good, man. Good word. Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming on Clubhouse. And I'm happy to be your first Clubhouse experience. So welcome.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Ray.
So there you have it. Out of the mouth of an quote older millennial. Is that what the article said? So
he's not there yet.
He's not there yet. You have to be right over 30. Well, he's 28. So I mean, it's almost.
Well, I think it's funny that everyone's within 5 years of him because I'm 20 years older than he is, and everyone's way younger than me. Most of my clients are in their either late 20s or mid 30s is where my clients are. So but I think
there's a large percentage of humanity that's younger than you. So that stands to reason.
Yeah, I'm more than halfway through. So but I think that we got to remember that little takeaway. People want to be entertained, encouraged, or educated. That's a great, I don't know who he stole that from because young ones don't know that stuff. But anyway, I'm just kidding, buddy. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I used to have
Ryan.
company,
sorry, Colin.
I used to have a company, EEE, it was all based around educate, entertain, encourage.
You kind of sound like the EA Sports guy. EA
Sports. It's in the game.
It's so good.